Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a love story. A story about two students who met in a language school. Two people from different countries, different cultures, but with the same dream. The dream of speaking English. And maybe, just maybe, the dream of finding love. Let's begin. It was a rainy Monday morning in London. The sky was gray and the streets were wet. Inside a small language school, students were arriving for their first day of class. They came from all over the world. Brazil, Japan, France, Italy, Mexico, and many other countries. Among these students was a young woman named Sophia. She was from Spain. She was 24 years old. She had long brown hair and dark eyes. She was nervous because her English was not very good. She wanted to improve her English to get a better job back home. She sat in the back of the classroom near the window and looked outside at the rain. And then a young man walked in. He was tall, with messy brown hair and a warm smile. His name was Ethan. He was from the United States. He was 26 years old. He was in London to study English literature. He loved books, poetry, and old movies. He sat down next to Sophia and said, "Hi, is this seat taken?" Sophia looked at him and felt her heart beat faster. She said, "No, it's free. Please sit down." Ethan smiled and sat next to her. He said, "My name is Ethan. I'm from New York. What's your name?" Sophia said, "I'm Sophia. I'm from Madrid. Nice to meet you." Ethan said, "Nice to meet you too, Sophia. Your accent is beautiful. Are you Spanish?" Sophia blushed and said, "Yes, I am. My English is not very good." "I'm sorry." Ethan laughed and said, "Don't worry. My English is not very good either. And I'm American." They both laughed. The teacher came in and the lesson began. The teacher's name was Mrs. Wilson. She was a kind woman with glasses and a gentle voice. She said, "Welcome, everyone. Today we are going to practice introducing ourselves. I want each of you to stand up and tell us your name, your country, and why you are learning English." The students stood up one by one. Some were nervous, some were confident. When it was Sophia's turn, she stood up and said, "Hello, my name is Sophia. I am from Spain. I am learning English because I want to work in an international company. I want to travel the world." Mrs. Wilson said, "Very good, Sophia. Your pronunciation is excellent. Keep practicing." When it was Ethan's turn, he stood up and said, "Hey everyone, I'm Ethan. I'm from the United States, but don't hold that against me." He made a joke and everyone laughed. "I'm learning English because I want to be a writer. I want to write stories that people around the world can read." Mrs. Wilson said, "That's a wonderful goal, Ethan. Welcome to our class." For the rest of the lesson, Sophia and Ethan worked together in pairs. They practiced dialogues, corrected each other's mistakes, and laughed at each other's funny pronunciations. Sophia said, "I love the way you say the word beautiful. You say it like beautiful." Ethan said, "And I love the way you say the word wonderful. You say it like wonderful." They both laughed. After class, Ethan walked with Sophia to the door. He said, "Sophia, I know this is our first day, but I wanted to ask you something." Sophia said, "Yes." Ethan said, "Do you want to grab a coffee sometime? I know a nice cafe near the school. They have the best hot chocolate in London." Sophia smiled and said, "I would love that. But my English is still very bad." Ethan said, "That's perfect. I need to practice my Spanish too." She laughed and said, "Okay, let's practice together." And that was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and Ethan spent a lot of time together. They studied together. They drank coffee together. They walked through the streets of London together. They talked about their countries, their families, their dreams. Sophia told Ethan about the beautiful beaches of Spain, the delicious food, the warm sun. Ethan told Sophia about the huge buildings of New York, the yellow taxis, the busy streets. They both loved music, books, and movies. They discovered that they had so much in common. One day, after a long day of classes, they walked to a park near the school. It was a sunny afternoon. The trees were green and the flowers were in bloom. They sat on a bench and watched the people walking by. Ethan said, "Sophia, can I tell you something?" Sophia said, "Of course." Ethan said, "I don't think I've ever met anyone like you. You make me feel happy. Every day when I wake up, I think about seeing you in class. You make me want to be a better person. You make me want to write 1,000,000 poems about you." Sophia looked at him with her dark eyes. She felt tears in her eyes. She said, "Ethan, I feel the same way. When I first saw you in class, I felt something I've never felt before. You are kind, funny, and patient with my terrible English. I want to tell you something too. I don't want to go back to Spain at the end of the year. I want to stay in London. I want to stay with you. Ethan took her hand and said, "Then stay. We can build a life together. We can learn English together, learn Spanish together, and travel the world together." Sophia smiled and said, "Yes. Yes, I will stay." They kissed for the first time in the park, under the green trees with the sun shining on their faces. But life is not always easy. A few months later, Sophia received a phone call from her family. Her father was sick. She had to go back to Spain to take care of him. She was sad and confused. She didn't know what to do. She told Ethan and he held her in his arms. He said, "Sophia, you have to go. Your family needs you. We can do this. We can have a long-distance relationship. We can video call every day. We can visit each other. This is not the end. This is just another chapter in our story." Sophia cried and said, "But I'm scared. I'm scared that we will grow apart. I'm scared that you will forget me." Ethan held her face and said, "I will never forget you. I love you, Sophia. I love you more than I love books, more than I love New York, more than I love poetry. You are my story, and I don't want to write it without you." Sophia smiled through her tears and said, "I love you too, Ethan. I love you more than I love the beaches of Spain, more than I love the sun, more than I love chocolate. You are my home now, and I will always come back to you." So Sophia went back to Spain. She took care of her father and he eventually got better. Every night, Sophia and Ethan video called each other. They practiced English together. They practiced Spanish together. They read poems to each other. They shared their days, their dreams, and their love. The distance was hard, but their love was stronger. 1 year later, Sophia returned to London. She walked into the language school, the same school where they first met. Ethan was waiting for her in the classroom, the same classroom where he sat next to her on that rainy Monday morning. He looked at her and said, "Hi, is this seat taken?" Sophia smiled and said, "No, it's free. Please sit down." They sat together just like the first day. Ethan said, "I have something to show you." He opened a book. It was a poetry book. But it wasn't just any poetry book. It was a book of poems that he had written. Every single poem was about her smile, her eyes, her accent, her laugh, her kindness. He said, "I wrote this for you because you are my inspiration. You are the reason I became a writer." Sophia opened the book and read the first poem. It said, "In Madrid there is a girl with eyes as dark as the night. Her smile lights up the world and makes everything feel right." She started to cry. She hugged him and said, "Ethan, this is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me. I love you." And then Ethan got down on one knee. He pulled out a small box. He opened it. Inside was a beautiful ring. He said, "Sophia, we met in this classroom, learning the same language, chasing the same dream. But I didn't know that the best thing I would learn was to love you. Will you marry me? Will you spend the rest of your life with me?" Sophia was speechless. Tears were running down her face. She looked at Ethan, then at the ring, then back at Ethan. She said, "Yes. Yes, Ethan, I will marry you. Yes, 1,000 times yes." They hugged and kissed in the middle of the classroom. The same classroom where two strangers from different countries first said hello. They didn't know it then, but that rainy Monday morning was the beginning of their love story. And now, years later, Sophia and Ethan are married. They have a small house near London. They have 2 children who speak English, Spanish, and a little bit of both. They still practice English together every day. They still laugh at each other's funny pronunciations. And they still tell their children the story of how they met in a language school. 2 strangers from 2 different countries who fell in love while learning a new language. Because sometimes you don't just learn a language, sometimes you learn a new way to love. And that, my friends, is the story of Sophia and Ethan. What did you think? Do you believe in love across borders? Have you ever met someone special while learning a new language? Write your answer in the comments below. And remember, the best stories are the ones we write together. See you next time.